A lot of people think they believe in themselves. If you ask them directly, they'll probably say they do. They have goals, they have plans, they have things they want to achieve. On the surface, it looks like the belief is already there. But if you pay attention to the way people act, a different picture often appears. People say they want to start something, but they never begin. They say they want to improve, but they keep putting it off. They say they want a better future, but they keep acting as if that future is meant for somebody else. They hesitate, they second guess themselves, they wait for more certainty, they wait for more confidence, they wait for more proof that they can succeed before they fully commit. The strange thing is that this usually happens because they do not believe in themselves as much as they think they do. Most people imagine self belief as thinking you're amazing, thinking you're special, thinking you can do anything. But that's not really what it is. Real self belief is much simpler than that. It's the belief that you can figure things out. It's the belief that you can improve. The belief that failure doesn't automatically mean you're finished. The belief that you're capable of becoming more than you are right now. A lot of people never give themselves that chance. They judge themselves based on who they are today. They look at their current skills, current results, situation, and treat those things as permanent. If they're not good enough at something now, they assume they'll never be good at it. If they struggle with something now, they assume that's just who they are. If they fail a few times, they start building an identity around that failure. What they forget is that almost everybody starts out unimpressive. Every skilled person was once unskilled. Every confident person was once uncertain. Every successful person was once inexperienced. The difference is that some people gave themselves permission to grow while others decided too early what they were capable of. Thinking about how often people talk themselves out of opportunities before they even try. They convince themselves they're not smart enough, not talented enough, not disciplined enough, not experienced enough. They create a verdict before the evidence even exists. Then years later, they wonder why their life hasn't changed. The truth is that many people spend more time believing in other people's potential than their own, and that used to be me. They can look at a friend and see possibilities. They can look at a successful person and understand how growth happens. They can see that skills are learned and confidence is built. But when it comes to themselves, suddenly all of that logic vanishes. Now every weakness feels permanent. Every mistake feels bigger. Every setback feels proof. It's a double standard that should not exist. The reality is that most people have no idea what they're capable of because they've never pushed themselves long enough to find out. They stop after a few failures. They stop after a few difficult months. They stop after progress becomes slower than expected. Then they assume they've discovered their limits. But the truth is, they haven't. They've discovered the point where things become uncomfortable. Those things are not the same. A lot of what people call limits are actually temporary barriers. Lack of experience, lack of practice, lack of patience, lack of consistency. Given enough time, many of those things can change dramatically. But they only change if someone believes improvement is possible in the first place. This is where self belief becomes important. Because before anyone else believes in you, you usually have to keep going without evidence. Before the results arrive, before the recognition arrives, before the progress becomes obvious, there is often a period where the only thing keeping you moving is the belief that the effort will eventually lead somewhere. Many people quit during that stage, not because success was impossible anymore, because they stopped believing it was possible for them. That's a big difference. Sometimes the biggest obstacle in someone's life is not a lack of opportunity, it's a lack of belief that they deserve the opportunity. They assume other people are somehow different, smarter, stronger, more gifted, more capable. They place successful people into a separate category and place themselves outside of it. But if you look closely at enough successful people, you start noticing something. Most of them were ordinary for a long time. Most of them had doubts. Most of them made a lot of mistakes. Most of them had periods where nobody believed in them. The difference is that they continued anyway. They kept moving long enough for growth to happen. and growth often takes longer than people think. That's another reason people underestimate themselves. They expect immediate proof. They want confidence after a few days, results after a few weeks, mastery after a few months. When reality moves slower than that, they assume they are failing. In reality, they're often exactly where they should be. Progress usually looks unimpressive while it's happening. The changes are small, the improvements are gradual, the growth is difficult to notice day to day. Then one day, years later, people look back and realize how far they've come. The version of themselves from the past would barely recognize who they became. But none of that growth would have happened if they had decided early on that they weren't capable. This is why self belief matters. Not because it guarantees success, not because it makes life easy, not because everything magically just works out. It matters because it keeps you in the game long enough to improve. A person who believes growth is possible will usually keep trying longer than someone who doesn't. And the person who keeps trying often ends up discovering abilities they never knew they had. At the end of the day, you're probably more capable than you think, and I have a video on that specifically. And not because you're secretly special, extraordinary, a superhuman or anything, but because human beings are surprisingly adaptable when they give themselves enough time. The version of you that exists today is not the final version. Your skills can improve, your confidence can improve, your situation, your life can improve. But that process becomes much harder when you've already decided that growth is impossible. You don't need to believe that you can do everything. You don't need to believe you'll succeed at every goal. You don't need to believe you're the best. All you need to believe is just a little more in your own ability to grow. Because chances are the person standing in your way isn't a lack of talent, a lack of opportunity, a lack of potential. It's the fact that you still don't believe in yourself enough.